Today, drama means messy relationships. Drama means karma's a bitch. And drama means stalking is romantic now.
Drama means here to sing, movie shows and all between. Laughs and talks every day with Mel and Ryan. Come and play.
Hi, welcome to Drama Means. Today we're talking about the 2025 Thai BL drama Gelboys.
And first, a little summary. A group of young people in Bangkok try to survive growing up in the modern era where social media influences everything in life and love, all while trying to find enough time to get their nails done. So can I first say that summary makes me feel like a boomer? Well, in the modern era, these kids got social medias and stuff.
As if we don't use plenty of the platforms.
Well, of course, but I think we don't know what it's like to have to go through like our school age years with the existence of social media the way it is now. Like we kind of got past our awkward teen phase before even MySpace became a thing, dating ourselves a little bit there, but it just feels like this, exposed to me how different that really is.
Yeah, I think I would be really devastated if I felt like I needed to post my life out there for people, strangers, crushes to see. I don't know.
Yeah, literally living those years where you are awkward and learning and making massive mistakes. Like it feels like it makes every mistake so much bigger.
Yeah.
Because it is on a stage, weirdly.
Yeah.
So if this series did anything, it made me a little bit sympathetic, I guess is the word, to the kids these days.
Honestly, I'm not joking about how, like, it's really weird to me. Like, it's so blatantly stalking, but it's so open and everyone knows you're doing it, and it doesn't even seem like a thing, like it's that weird anymore. Like it's just like those things are expected. But I always feel very like vulnerable. Like if I can be, I don't know,
peeked in on. Yeah, it's so weird that it is the instinct of nearly every character in the show. As soon as they meet someone or as soon as they like come across someone, you immediately go online and look at all their profiles. Like you look at anything public that they have up, which is not a first instinct, I think, for people of our generation. Like maybe eventually you would look someone up on social media or something, but it's the first thing these kids do.
Back then, it is you have someone's number, right?
Right.
And then that's your like contact, right? But in this drama, it was like to get the person's number is such like a privilege, and it's so far into like them knowing each other before Chian even offers up like adding them online.
Well, yeah, it's like, oh, what's your chat? What's your IG? What's your this? What's your that?
Yeah.
And then it's, well, I guess I could give you my number.
Yeah.
But it makes sense because if you think about like you break up with someone, what can you do? Well, you can block and unfollow them on IG. Your phone number, people can still possibly get a hold of you. Like yes, you can block people's phone numbers. I'm not that old, but IG, it's just like, oh, block. You no longer have a way to contact me.
Yeah.
Like I no longer, I disappear from your world, literally. And so like phone number is a little more intimate. Like that's personal information. That's not something I can delete tomorrow, you know, if I wanted to. I mean, I think we can talk about technology a lot, and we're going to throughout this whole thing, I think, because it plays such a huge role in this. But I think the tone is something we should really dig into because this is Mel's bread and butter. Slow, indie, romancy about kind of nothing.
I do have to say, this is like my favorite style of drama to watch. Each shot is kind of like on purpose, longer than like your normal drama shots, right?
And it's the opposite of a music video.
Yes.
Like it's not chop, chop, chop. It's like, is this shot gonna end?
Yeah. So, but it serves the emotions really well, because it's just waiting for the moment, that key moment where like all the emotions are building up, and you get to watch it build up in, their face, their eyes, their breathing. And that's what I love the most. I think that's why I prefer like a lot of these indie style shows, movies, because you really like get to feel the emotions each character has. Whereas a lot of like even like music videos or like your normal commercially dramas, it's very like quick, or it doesn't have emphasis or you know a reason why that shot is how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And in this, everything is so like everything has a meaning. They show everything, and if they show it, it has a meaning, and they always come back to it, or they always like they have these really like poignant moments where like it doesn't tell you, it doesn't like slap you in the face and be like, hey, you have to remember this moment, but it's there for you, and it just hits every single time.
That's a way to put emphasis on things in a different way. I don't know if I've seen another show, regardless of what country it's from, that is quite this indie film, and especially a series. Like watching a series that's such an indie film series was very different for me, because you watch an indie movie and it does have this pacing and these long drawn out takes because they want the audience to sit in the emotion and sit in the feeling, and you feel what the characters are feeling because you're forced to sit in it with them. You're not always given something new to look at. I've never seen it used that way in series to the extent this show does.
Yes, and that is why I love it, and I love Bas Kuno. He is the director of I Told Sunset About You and I Promised You the Moon. But yeah, like he is kind of one of my favorite directors right now.
I mean, I can see why. Like, I do think there were very few missteps in this series. And again, it's a very long indie movie. When you like, if you were just to put the episodes back to back to back, like it's a very, very long indie movie, and it feels like very few missteps. It just felt like it was true to itself the whole time. It was true to the characters the whole time. Like, he wasn't afraid to make his characters unlikable. He wasn't afraid to take chances. He wasn't afraid to let you sit in the emotions and agonize over the decisions that maybe your favorite character is making. And so that you can feel the pain with them when they're embarrassed and when they do something they shouldn't have done. And he plays with your emotions up and down, like who you feel sympathy for and who you're kind of angry at. Like, he's really is playing the audience like an instrument throughout the series. So hats off. It's a really well directed series overall.
Yes. So I may be jumping a little bit forward, but I watched this drama 3 times. Once by myself, once with Ryan, once with my friend. And my friend, and mind you, all 3 of us went to college together, and we had the same major, so we're always like talking about movies and film.
Film dorks. You can call us film dorks.
Yes, you can call us film dorks. Anyway, so we're talking about it, and our friend was like, oh, I feel like it's 1 episode too long. Like, I feel like they could cut it, and it's going too much back and forth, right? And I told him, I was like, structurally, I feel like the reason why it's done the way it is, it kind of needs to, right? Because everyone comes in full circle. Each character, they have their moments and it's almost like this karmic wheel, right? So they have a moment when they're the victim, or they're like in pain, and they're being wronged, right? And then there's a moment when they are doing wrong to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And every character needs to have that circle. And so when you have that, then it structurally it's kind of the perfect length. right? You kind of, the first episode, you get the introductions, you know, your world, everything like that. And then it goes in with Fomo's character, and then it goes into Chian's character, and then Baabin, and then Bois. Like, it's just, it kind of flows a certain way, and every character needs to have their, you know, ups and downs, and it is like a roller coaster of emotions. So I personally think it's good how it is, and why it has like a random 7 episodes, not 6, not 8, you know, because I think honestly structurally it's kind of perfect.
Yeah, I think normally I would agree, like with him, as far as, well, there's probably not enough quote unquote material for 7 episodes. Like, I don't know if it's 1 episode too long or 2 episodes too long, but I actually don't know how to do this pacing and this feeling by speeding it up. Like, yes, story wise, you could absolutely cut an hour out of this, you know, 7-hour movie or whatever you want to call it, for sure. But when you start speeding that up and you start pacing it up, like is the favorite note to give on the set of a network drama, trust me, I've given it a lot of times, pace it up, pace it up. As soon as you start doing that, you start losing not just all the full circle stuff you're talking about, but you start losing the rawness and the emotions of the characters. And again, sitting with those emotions. And I think everything overall becomes less poignant because you couldn't just pace up like 2 episodes. Then you would have 2 episodes that felt like a network TV show in the middle of your indie film. That'd be weird.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of has to be the length it is in order for us to feel all that awkwardness and all that angst. I hate using the word angst, but it's kind of, there's no other really word.
Yeah. And what's more angsty than your teenage years?
I mean, that's it. That's what they are. Like, but I think that the filmmakers here knew that, and that's what they're going for. Like, how else do you describe your teenage years, especially when you're like ending high school and it's like looking at your future, and so you're not a child, but you're not an adult, and the things you like now are not necessarily going to be the things you like in 5 years or 10 years. Like, this is a very unique time in our lives.
Yeah.
And I think we all could be reminded of that every now and then when we look at young people and go, ugh, young people. It's like, man, they're in a very unique, short time of their life where it'll never be the same again. And their version of this is not the same as yours, it's not the same as your parents, your grandparents. Like, their experience is completely unique.
Yes, but it is also very relatable. I mean, everyone has gone through their teenage years, and I've read a lot of comments online how like, oh, they can't watch it, or people can't like get into it because the characters are so like not likable, right? But the thing is, they do things that are not likable, right? But I don't think their characters are not likable. So, I just feel like a lot of people who watch it, like, first of all, expects everyone to be saints all the time. Second of all, maybe they're looking at these teens with adult eyes, you know, and so they can't relate, or they can't remember how it was when they were teens and going through, like, you know, there are a lot of times when like your want always comes like more important than like what's right, or your morals, or you know, and sometimes your desires just like, you're like, fuck it, I just want this so bad, and I'm gonna overlook all the bad things because I want this, you know. And it happens a lot. And yes, could they have like gone, you know, the higher road? Like, even when I was watching it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, honestly, I don't think any of them should be together. I think they should all start a new life. You know, they go to college, they find someone new, and they like they learn from their mistakes in this time around with these people, and they go and do better in the future.
They probably do.
And yeah, they probably
do. I don't think any of these people are together 5 years after the show. Like, I honestly, like, when I look at it, that's young people. Like, you fall so madly in love. You're 15 years old and you fall so madly in love. That person, you can't even remember their name when you turn 30. You're like, oh yeah, that was so important to me. The things that were so important to me then, they're not important anymore. And you learn that. But when you're in it, the stakes feel so dire.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't, every time in this show that I felt like, ugh, they're so dumb. You just have to think for 2 minutes about yourself at that age and just try to relate back. Was this my experience of being 15, 16, 17? Absolutely not. Can it be related to my experience? Absolutely. And so you just think back of, yeah, that's why they're dumb. I was dumb. Like, we're all figuring it out. We fuck it up. We try again.
Yep.
And this thing just, it was so good at doing that. Like, showing these characters fuck up, getting back on the bike and doing it again, and getting hurt and hurting, and just, I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, the emotions are so real, so raw. And the thing is, the decisions that they make, are they great decisions? No. But we understand where it came from.
They're motivated.
Yeah.
The decisions are motivated by what they're going through. So, you know, who's to say what's a good decision and a bad decision? I mean, yes, like, you probably shouldn't be keeping people on the hook and promising them love that doesn't, you know, exist. But, like, again, messy.
Yeah.
Messy adolescence.
But that's kind of what's fun to watch about this. I don't know. It is fun.
I don't know about fun. This shows a lot of things. I don't know about fun.
I don't know. There's some fun parts.
No, there's fun moments, but I did find this show a little emotionally draining to watch. That I was like, man, it does feel so raw, and it is so universally relatable to anyone who's gone through puberty, you know? Yeah. But man, it did feel like it makes you feel a lot, and I found myself tired. Like, this is not a binge show for me. This is not a show you can watch 3-4 episodes in a row. I'm like, it's gonna put me in a funk. Like not that it's bad, it's just raw.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are times, because I did watch this first, and then we watch it again. So I was like ready to speed through it again the second time around, but
I could not.
Yeah, we had to take a few days, like, kind of breaks in between episodes, so we can kind of get emotionally ready again.
But I also wanted to, like, digest the emotions. Like, it's one of those things that I did feel I thought about after an episode was over, and I wasn't ready to jump into a new episode yet because I wasn't quite digesting what I'd seen. Like, it's like, you know, you eat a big meal, you got to sit back and go, oh, okay, and just wait. And I do feel like that was my experience of this show, that I wanted to kind of have a think.
Yeah. And because I watched it as it was airing, so, like, you know, one episode a week.
You had to think.
I had to think. I had that time to digest. So the second time around, I just wanted to power right through again. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I've watched it 3 times now, and every single time I rewatch it, I find new things.
Yeah, there's a lot of nuance. And I'm sure there's things that I didn't even pick up. And I think maybe things you even mentioned, that didn't land with me. Because I'm thinking more big picture and story, you know, kind of from a first-time watcher.
Yeah. But there's so many nuances, so many little, like, almost like Easter eggs for you to find. And then they, like, bring it up again a long time after, you know, whatever episode it was in the first time you see it. And it's just, gosh, it was so well thought out. You know, and I don't know how much time was put in just to come up with it and write it and create it. But so many little things that you would overlook, you know, in a commercial drama, or you don't have time for it, that it just works so well.
Well, that would be my question to the filmmaker. Like, how long was this in your brain? And then how long did you spend kind of crafting it? Because you think about directors and they have what we call, you know, pet projects, where something that is kind of put on the back burner and they thought about for a decade. And they took another 5 years and wrote it. And they took another 5 years and thought about it some more and tweaked it. And Meanwhile, they're making commercially successful things, and then they get to do their passion pet project. Was this that? I don't know. Could be because of how much thought went into it, or we're just dealing with a very talented person who thought of everything, or a good team that thought of everything.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell, but it sings to me as passion project.
Yeah.
And so if it wasn't, good job.
Well, I kind of feel like Boss Kuno started very like commercial stuff. I think he was in that Nadal or under that Nadal umbrella, so he was like filming a lot of commercial stuff for Nadal. And then when Nadal kind of ended, he started doing passion projects after that.
Mm-hmm.
So
maybe that's the answer. I mean, we don't know, but that would be the first question I ask of like, how long has this been kind of sitting in your brain? Because it does feel deeply personal.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard, I think, to pull some of this stuff out without real access to these emotions, personal access. You know what I mean? Like, not necessarily he had to go through all this stuff verbatim, but he knew how to go through this stuff and then translate it to these characters.
Yes. So I know we talked a lot about the long, awkward shots and how most of it is very effective. And I do really like those long shots because you get to like really be in the emotions.
Mm-hmm. But I think sometimes he exposes some weakness of actors, I think. And there were a couple times when he would kind of leave the camera on Chian for a really long time. And when you do that to an actor, they start trying to think about what they're supposed to do. And then I can start seeing the actor thinking and not acting. And I think sometimes I was like, oh, I wish this shot was long in a 2-shot. Like, you could still show the awkwardness of these two characters in a 2-shot of them just standing in the front of this train station, letting subways go by, without exposing the actor and making the actor feel awkward, if that makes sense. Like, I want to feel the awkwardness of the characters, not the awkwardness of an actor who doesn't quite know what to do with his hands.
Yeah.
Or his face or something like that,
I always notice because I always feel like I see a lot of it, especially in these Thai BLs where like the actors are kind of new. And even in like commercial projects where actors always result in shaking their head when they don't know when they're supposed to do next.
I see what you mean.
And the camera is on them for too long, and either the editing, they don't cut soon enough. But that actor always goes.
And Mel's shaking her head right now, for those listening. And she shakes her head back and forth weirdly.
But yes, it's just they realize they're actually done with their scene now, and they don't have any more dialogue, but they don't quite know what to do next, and they know that the camera hasn't cut yet, and they don't know what to do, so they shake their head.
Yeah.
And you see that a lot.
Because it's active. It's an active thing to do, you know? It's better than standing completely still.
But it always looks really awkward and very visible that like they're like, I'm done acting now. Hee hee. And not that Pide did this, but
there were moments where it felt like he was waiting for something else to happen, or like waiting for the director to call cut.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason we do things on film sets a specific way. Like there's a reason why, we say background and then the background starts to move. We roll the camera and then the background starts to move. And that's when the actors kind of start getting into acting mode. And then we say action, and now we're to the point where the actors are acting. But because they've kind of started the actor machine up already, we're not seeing the difference between them like waiting to act and act. And then sometimes in these shows, you catch a glimpse of that, where it's like, oh, they stopped acting for a second. Oh, should have cut a little early, or shouldn't have used that much of this take. And the actor, quote unquote, wasn't ready yet. And I think sometimes with these long shots, it takes a very good actor to hold a lens, especially in a close-up or a close shot, for a very long time without dialogue or without specific direction. It's very difficult. And if you're not a really, truly gifted actor, the audience is going to start noticing. And I think I for sure started noticing, not a lot, but time here and there, especially when it was Forma and Chian in scenes, because I think there's a difference in acting level between the two.
Yes, definitely.
And you could really see Chian like struggling, like, I know I'm supposed to just smile at him awkwardly. And so it was either like freeze frame, or he would start fidgeting, and it's just like, don't look at the camera, don't look at the camera, don't look at the camera. Like, I can almost like read his brain. I'm like, oh, this poor kid, cut away from him. Give me a different shot to look at. I'm sorry.
Yeah. There is definitely a difference. Like, New's acting is so spot on, and he's so, like, as I was saying before, like, from, like, the way he studies Chian's face, right? And then him like holding his breath and then clenching his jaw, and just like all these moments where he's like, he's fidgeting but he's feeling, and you're feeling all the feelings, right? And then just like the little like the crack in his voice, it's so natural, so organic, and it's just like he's not acting anymore, he's just being. And that's why, like, he's just on a different level of acting than the rest of the cast.
For sure. I mean, I think I would love to find someone that doesn't think that's true, just to understand why. Because from the first episode, it's pretty apparent. Like, this is our focus. Like, even if he wouldn't have been the quote-unquote lead character, because this isn't an ensemble for the most part, but he does kind of feel like our lead because we kind of start with him. But even if that wasn't true, if he played a different character, it's just the way he captures the lens. You go, oh, this is the star. Whether he's the lead, he's definitely the star.
Yeah. So we've seen him before in Ready, Set, Love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
very different role.
Very different role, but he was also way better than his counterpart. So it was.
Gosh.
I don't know if you remember, but it was, especially the scene where he like goes and meets that underground DJ guy.
Yes.
In the outside world, you know, and that underground DJ guy, which has been in the industry for so long, has been terrible every time I've ever seen him in anything. And then paired with New, and you're like, fuck, why are we wasting New's acting? But I mean, that's just.
I literally remember thinking, they're going to pair this guy with him? Oh, man. He's got to act in scenes with him? Come on.
So, but yes, anyway, like, back to Gelboys, but I'm not saying that, like, everyone was bad other than New. I'm not saying that at all, because PJ and Leon, like, held their own, and they were great. I do think that Pide is, like, the weakest link in terms of acting. But, you know, of course, I loved this project, so I think all of them did well.
I think if he wasn't in scenes as much with New, you would notice it a lot less. And if he wouldn't have been what I consider kind of hung out to dry every once in a while by the director, you also wouldn't have noticed that much, because the characters are so awkward, and the characters just, they're figuring themselves out. And so, I don't know, I think everyone was actually really good in this. There's just a difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Because there were moments where I felt the most sorry for Chian, because he feels a little bit like an outcast. Like, you know, he comes across, oh, I'm the cool guy that, you know, he has a crush on me, but I'm kind of like this other guy. Oh, look, he's like playing both sides. And there's several moments where you're kind of like, oh man, he's kind of lost. Like, just more lost almost than the rest of the characters for moments. And I think he played that really well. He played that kind of outcast of like, should I go and engage here? No, he's got his guy. Should I go engage here? No, he's got his friends. I'm just going to walk home alone. And I'm like, oh, ugh, heart wrench. Like, so he made me feel things. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, I like that in Fulmont's eyes, Chian is the cool guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for the audience, when we watch it, Chian is definitely not the cool guy.
No. But I don't think anybody's the cool guy.
Yeah.
Like, who's cool when they're 16? No, none of y'all cool. I don't care. Captain of the football team. You ain't cool. Nobody's cool. You're awkward as hell.
Anyway. But like, again, you know, when you just like somebody, they become cool in your eyes, and then almost like unattainable, and you just really like them, and then everything that you've done together, it's like you just want to recreate those moments, because that's what made you happy.
Well, that makes me think about when New starts dating. Oh, I'm losing the name.
Faifa.
Yeah, when he starts dating, and like he just wants to recreate his time with Chian, and he's not really willing to do like different stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like when you're with someone you really like, you will do shit you don't really like doing. And when you don't really like the person, you find excuses of why you don't want to do that stuff a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Especially at that age. You're like, oh yeah, like you want to go do this? Oh my gosh, I love that too. But when you're with someone you don't really like, it's pretty obvious. And I think they did a really good job of showing how disenfranchised he was afterwards, of like, oh, you want to go get, I can't remember what she suggests. It's like, I want to go get this. And he's like, oh, you sure you don't want to go get your nails done? It's like, no, I want to do the stuff I always did with him.
Yeah. So it's just like, they create these real moments that it's just like you're watching people live their lives, right? And the thing is, everyone thinks that their lives are like super cool and like important, but as an audience, it's like, oh yeah, it's kind of boring and mundane, but because all these emotions involved and that it's so relatable, then you're just like so willingly able to like just go on this coming of age story. You know,
I mean, I will say, like, indie things might not be my jam all the time, as much as they are yours. But coming of age is for sure my jam. And that's what I think got me here. Because I do feel I'm pretty good at looking back in my life and going, I remember what it was like to be 15. I remember what it was like to be in college. And relating my situation to their situation and what I went through with what they're going through. And there were so many times in this where I was like, oh my gosh, like, why are these kids doing this to themselves? And then going, I know exactly why these kids are doing this to themselves. Like, I just get it. Like, you forgive so much. Things I would not forgive in like an adult comedy or an adult, you know, romantic drama or an adult action movie. Oh, why are these characters making such dumb decisions? But they get a pass because you know what it's like to be awkward and weird and not that self-confident, but then trying to act self-confident.
yeah.
And so every time they made a dumb call, and you even said a couple times, like, ugh, what an idiot. I'm like, yeah, but he's young. He doesn't know.
I know. And I have locked certain memories in my brain, or like I've done really stupid shit that like really embarrassed myself, right? And I sometimes unlock this box and like remember the dumb shit I did, thinking it was like a good idea, and then I did it and I was so embarrassed and like really wish I didn't do it. And it's just and watching them in this drama, I'm kind of like, oh man, yeah.
And just going back to like the social media of it all, like everything means something in this social media world. Like we talked about like blocking someone or unfriending someone, but like even like turning on your like read receipts or, you know, adding the playlist and no one's listened to it. Oh, he listened to my playlist. Well, that means something. And then, oh wait, I can now watch his stories. I couldn't watch the stories before, you know, all these different levels that I wasn't even aware of existed. But everything's a message. Everything's a message to someone else. Oh, who's in our private chat? Oh, he lets someone else listen to our playlist. I thought that was just for us. You know, it's just all these things that they all mean something. And I'm like, what? What does that mean?
You're still getting it wrong, Mr.
I
Old.
know that. I'm not required to get it right. I'm old.
Oh my god, after watching this, I was like, oh, me and my best friend are gonna do like collaboration on our playlist.
And you couldn't figure it out.
I couldn't freaking figure it out. And finally, when I did, my friend didn't even collaborate with me. And she's like, thanks, I'll listen to this later. I'm like, that's not what I was trying to do.
I believe you were trying to start a jam session. That's what it's called, kids. It's called a jam session. Would you like to join Mel's jam?
No, that's what I thought it was, but that's not even what they were doing. It wasn't a jam session.
See, this is why you got it wrong.
Anyway, back on topic. As much as I really, really like this show, this drama, this series, whatever you want to call it, I felt like there were some misses.
So it wasn't just sunshine and rainbows.
No, it wasn't. But I mean, it's really good. I really, really recommend watching it. But I think specifically the scene where Bois pees himself.
And this is after they all get on a Zoom together and they're like confessing like who's like in love with who and who's crushing who, and he kind of gets to be like the one left out, right?
Yeah, well, Bois gets completely rejected
right
in front of everybody, and he gets off of the Zoom call, and then they pull back, and he's literally peed himself because his excuse to get off the call was he literally peed himself. And the thing is, that was a really devastating moment, right? Like, you, in front of 3 other people, confess your feelings towards this person, right? To Baabin, and downright just gets rejected with such certainty, right? It is really devastating. And the fact that you show him, and I know what it's trying to go for, like, it was so devastating that he actually did, lose control of his bladder. But to me, it takes away from the emotion, because now the audience is just concentrating that he peed himself, right? And I belong to this Discord that it's like all on BL stuff, and so everyone's like, but why though? Like, why? Well, the why is to show just how devastating it was for him. The thing is, it was not effective because it took the audience out of that moment, because now we're not feeling for Bois, we're not feeling his emotions. And the thing is, when I was saying with the karmic circle and everyone like having those their own feelings, we should have the equality of feeling the sadness that Bois had, right? So, and like feeling his emotions when he is the one that's put on the hook. And so when we take out and we see just like this, like it's almost like a comedic moment, and then we like kind of forget that just how like terrible that feeling is when you're just rejected in front of a few people, and like how hurt your pride is.
Well, I mean, I think the other issue is it's not that relatable.
Yeah.
Like, of all of the experiences all of us have had, how many have been so devastated in your life? Think of all your traumas. How many of us have been so devastated we literally peed ourselves? Not that many. I don't think that's like one of those relatable things. That's something you're like, hey, like that time we all peed ourselves, and all your friends are like, huh? Oh, just me? Yeah, just me. And I get it, like you say, like the director's trying to show his devastation. And I will say, I think they were looking for something in this scene, because so much of this show is about not putting yourself out there. Like, Formont's like, oh yeah, I'm cool if we don't call each other boyfriend. But like, he totally isn't cool. But he doesn't want to like rock the boat. You never want to like put yourself so far out there to be rejected. None of these characters do it the entire show. They're always kind of walking up to the line, and then as soon as they feel resistance, they back off. No one just puts their foot across the line and goes, this is what I want, damn it. And I'm putting myself out there. And then he does in this scene. And he puts himself out there and he gets kicked straight in the teeth. So I understand the wanting to, like, what can we do to really help let the audience feel what a huge step it was for him to do that, and then what a huge setback it was to be rejected. Unfortunately, what they came up with stepped on the moment. And so I think that was a huge miss, because it could have been the most poignant part of the entire show. Because that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh man, he's going to go for it. He's going to go. No one's gone for it yet. Everyone's tiptoeing. Oh, you don't want, okay, well then I won't. You know, like what kids do. Even when we're adults, we kind of, oh, you don't want to go here? I won't go there either. And he just steps across the line. I'm like, oh, he's going for it. And like, this is not going to end well. So it was unfortunate. I mean, we all make mistakes when we make films. And sometimes the jokes you tell aren't funny. And sometimes the emotional moments you tell don't land. I also want to talk about, there's a style of filmmaking here, right, that's very dogmatic. Like, it doesn't feel like they used a lot of lights. It doesn't feel like they used a lot of technology to make this. It was very much, they chose locations they liked and they kind of shot in them. And it has this very dogmatic type style to it, which works, I think, 90% of the time. The cinematography in this, I really enjoyed. I thought the movie looks the same tone that it feels. But there were times when it is just kind of ugly, or the shots are kind of flat. And I think that is because of the way the filmmaking, the way they chose to shoot it. It wasn't enough for me to like, oh, I'm not enjoying this scene because the shot is flat. But you're like, oh man, if you threw a kicker light back there to put some backlight on these kids, they might look better in this scene. It's just little tiny things like that. It's very nitpicky. But because most of it, I did enjoy the cinematography, but there was a few moments where you kind of felt a little student filmy, and it kind of just shoots you out of it for a second going, what? Okay, now we're back. So, again, no one's perfect.
Do you remember which shots felt flat to you?
I can't remember exactly. There was a sequence where they were kind of under where like the train is, and they were just like hanging out, and they were kind of against this gray wall. And I remember one of the angles, it's kind of that little skate park where they sometimes hang out at.
Okay.
And there's one angle that's like a really nice, and it's like you get to see the texture of the city and the skates and the kids and the things. And then the other angle is just a gray pillar. And I'm like, you should have just cheated that a little different so that we could see something else from that angle rather than just cement. And it happens, like you shoot fast and you shoot low budget sometimes. You just kind of go, wow, this is beautiful. That sucks. Who cares? Moving on. And there was a couple shots too, I think, when he was waiting for him, when was it Chian waiting for Fomot at the subway and like waiting for him to like show up, and he asks to borrow like $5 or something.
Oh yeah. Like right at the bottom of
bottom of those stairs.
Yeah.
There's like one angle that's really good, and then the second angle is just kind of flat and boring.
Yeah.
And I think those are the two things that kind of popped in my head, but I don't remember exactly. Again, it's not enough to really pull you out of like the storytelling, other than just go, that's kind of ugly. I don't really want to look at that.
Yeah, I can see that. I do like some of like the set dressing. I mean, it definitely fits them, as characters, and how, like, I don't want to say eccentric each of the characters are, but it's just like every place feels like, especially their rooms, every place feels lived in.
Super lived in and very different. All of them live in such different places.
Yeah.
Who's the one that lives in the house with all the people trying to sell stuff on live stream? Like it, yeah, like that house to me is bonkers. Like the details that were in that place, where he's got the corner where they're live streaming to sell products, and then it's like it. Every time we're in that set, I'm like, this place is wild.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was Boaz's room where, like, he, I think, lives in a freezer.
Yeah, I think it looked like a meat locker.
Yeah, so that was really interesting. But yeah, like I loved a lot of times we see a lot of these very clean set dressings. I was actually watching it's the Taiwanese BL like fight for you, or the one guy, they go into his room and it's so like contemporary, and I'm like, I just don't see this character in this type of set dressing. Like, and just the way how it's decorated, it just doesn't fit his personality, right? So just when you watch things in Gelboys, when like everyone's room fits their personality, it's just like everything is like thought out to a T on how this character would decorate their room. It's just very interesting, and it's so much effort has been put into this.
Now, I don't know for sure whether or not these places they shot, especially for the homes, were sets or they were locations. They all felt very location to me, like shooting in someone's real house, someone's real meat locker. But sometimes when you're scouting places, you walk into someone's house and you go, the characters, here they are. They're already living in the house. You actually don't have to change much. Or you start taking pictures of their stuff going, how do we recreate this for our characters? Because, these people are living in the right size of house, for our characters. The problem with sets is you build them and they look brand new. Like, I was on a show, we had a restaurant set that was supposedly had been a restaurant that was open for 20 years. And you walk in and the paint on it is pristine. You're like, throw a layer of grease on everything. Then it will start looking like it's supposed to look. But it can't look brand... Yeah, you can age the paint. No. The tables need to be a little greasy. They need to wobble a little bit when they set food down on them. Like, it's hard to get those details right in a set. So the benefit sometimes of having less money and having to shoot in cramped, tiny apartments is it looks like a cramped, tiny apartment.
Yeah. So, as everyone can probably tell, we loved this series. My rating would be Drinks on a Pool Deck. As much as I loved it, and I will probably rewatch this like a few more times.
So not the highest ranking, though.
Not the highest, but I really, really enjoyed it. I highly recommend people watch it. Drinks on a Pool Deck for me.
I would also say Drinks on a Pool Deck, and it's hard for me to imagine it being better. Like, I don't think I could make this better, but it's not quite my cup of tea and was at times a hard watch just because of how raw and emotional and kind of drained you felt watching some of the episodes. So perfect, no, but Drinks on a Pool Deck, extremely, extremely highly recommended.
Yes. And this week, I am recommending a song by Gunn from Proxy. The song is called My Only One. I had this on repeat all last year, like from when they released the song in 2024, and I literally like had it on repeat for a really long time. It's like my favorite song from Proxy. I mean, from Gunn. But definitely give it a listen. It kind of, I've thought about maybe recommending, the actual Proxy song that, they do on the show, but this is my like always on repeat song, so I'm going to recommend this one.
Well, there you go.
And that is it for us this week, and we will see you next week.
Thank you so much for listening.